Welcome back to Head On here on Shaw TV. Ian Holmes discussing a new commercial-sized medicinal marijuana operation coming to the Duke Point Strip here April 1st. Philippe Lucas with Tilray is here to discuss this. Also, Sasha Angus, CEO of the Nanaimo Economic Development Corporation, to talk about the economic impact. And I understand it's quite substantial as it pertains to this particular new investment in Nanaimo. Sasha, medicinal marijuana in Nanaimo, it's here starting April 1st. What kind of impact do you see this happening locally here to our economy?
Well, it's been interesting. We've been working with the Tilray group for about 10 months now, and so we help make the business case for why Nanaimo versus about 4 or 5 other jurisdictions across the country that we're also trying to secure their business. So the impact is going to be phenomenal. They've already invested millions of dollars into the facility. That's all going to local contractors, local engineers, local architects, and the job fair that Philippe had mentioned earlier, over 400 people coming out for those jobs. They run the spectrum from plant scientists to marketing and social media experts. So they're going to be great household sustaining jobs for the citizens of Nanaimo.
Philippe, in terms of, and I know you don't want to get into specifics in terms of, salary range we're talking about here, but this is by no means at minimum wage. This is some pretty well-paying positions and really going to give the economy a boost. What can you say about the positions and also, the salary range? What are we talking about in terms of the actual impact here for a local economy?
Well, this is nothing less than the dawn of a new biotech industry that we're seeing not just here in Nanaimo, but throughout Canada and in many parts of the world as well. And it's really it's taking off massively, and so our wages are competitive. They range, as Sasha says, from trimmers and people who are going to be our customer service representatives, all the way to senior executives that we'll be hiring locally. We've got today was our first day of having our new staff, and resulting from the job fair, we had 5 cultivators come on board. Interestingly enough, we've most of those cultivators have been drawn from the greenhouse industry and from the agricultural industry, not necessarily from the cannabis industry. And so we've got a nice combination of people who are used to working with plants and large-scale facilities, as well as people who are used to working with cannabis, all working together to produce the absolutely best cannabis supply in Canada. And if that's your goal, then you better. If the goal is to have the best cannabis supply in Canada, you better start in BC.
Sasha, you've long said that there's a search for more high-paying jobs here in Nanaimo. This seems to fit along that realm. Can this be a springboard to other technologically based industries with which this is? Can this be used to parlay into something more?
Sure. And while it's agriculture in a certain form, it's really knowledge-based industry as far as how you cultivate the strains, what the chemistry and the science is behind it. And so those sorts of knowledge-based jobs have been increasing in Nanaimo. We did a report just last week saying that the impact of locally is about $200 million with all knowledge-based industries. And so that sort of growth and the jobs that they spawn are things that we want to drive and help develop more of.
Yeah, it's been interesting to see how many folks from Vancouver Island University have actually applied, and so it's a nice feeder program, I think, for the kind of jobs that we have available and that we're hiring for. So it's a nice relationship between Nanaimo, the local population, and the local university to make sure that we've got the staff that we need in place.
And in terms of these jobs being in Nanaimo long term, you guys aren't just a flash in the pan, Philippe. This is a long-standing venture. Absolutely.
I mean, when you look at the investment that we're making out in Duke Point right now, we expect to be here for some time to come, and we couldn't be happier about being here in Nanaimo. The municipality has been great. The folks out here have been really welcoming, and there's been nothing but good news for us. People are asking a lot of questions and very enthusiastic, I think, about having Tilray in town.
How many people from out of town showed interest in working for Tilray here locally?
Well, we had people from up and down the island. We had folks coming down all the way down from Campbell River and the Courtenay area, and we had people who drove up all the way from Victoria. I think for so many folks who have an interest in medical cannabis, this is an opportunity to get in at the ground floor in really this emergent industry, but also to legitimize some of their experience. Some of the folks that we've been working with have been patients for a long time. I'm a patient myself, so we have, we're obviously have no problem with hiring patients and bringing them on board. And others have had family members who've been affected by conditions that they've treated with medical cannabis. And so for them, it's a very personal experience and relationship they have with this plant, and they're eager to turn that into a professional relationship.
Mm-hmm. Sasha, I'm wondering if the city, if you've heard any kind of negative flack at all coming your way or the city's way in regards to Nanaimo standing behind a large-scale medicinal marijuana operation?
I've heard next to nothing, to be honest. And I have to say a huge kudos to City Council for their ability to work with the proponents to find a suitable location to help guide them through the rezoning process, which was a great asset and something that we were very happy to see come from Council. So it's been a wonderful experience so far, and the jobs that are going to be coming out of it, the capital investment that Tilray has made in their community is something that we should all be very happy about.
It's pretty amazing. In Canada, you see about between 80 and 90% support for medical cannabis, and I think that's because most of us have had either know someone who's benefited from the use of cannabis, or we know someone who might have benefited from the use of medical cannabis. And so when it comes to the suffering of a loved one and someone that we care about, I think that there's nothing we wouldn't do to help them. And medical cannabis is just one of those options that's been out there for a while, for a long time illegal, and now emerging from that stature that for a lot of people who are sick and suffering in Canada makes a lot of sense. And so I think that's why we have such wide support across the nation for this, for medical marijuana.
Before we wrap up here on the program, I want to get into the public safety element of this facility. And Philippe, you mentioned there's security guards that have been hired as well. How is this going to conform into that area? It is largely industrial, but people live not too far away from that area. How does that blend in with the neighborhood and the public safety element as well?
Well, certainly the neighbors are really happy to have us there. They're happy to see the cameras going up and the 24-hour security. I think that they feel more secure in general. We don't expect that this is going to cause any problems at all. To be quite honest, it's going to be the most difficult cannabis to get at in all of BC by the time we're done. And so, yeah, we expect this to be nothing but a net benefit to the neighborhood community from a public safety point of view.
And the current system, homegrown residential medicinal marijuana operations, and they didn't have to out themselves as that's what they were through some privacy measures, I understand, through Health Canada. Did that have any kind of concerns from a police perspective? People raiding, kind of the rumor getting out about a potential pot operation, that obviously the problem, if it is one, would obviously change now.
I think that was certainly a motivation for the changes in the federal program that have now removed the right of individual patients to produce for themselves. There was a lot of pressure from municipalities and municipal police forces to remove those basement production facilities, despite the fact that they made up just a tiny fraction of the black market cannabis production that's going on in BC and throughout Canada.
And Sasha is one of the leaders here in the community in Nanaimo. You're obviously quite comfortable with this outfit coming to town?
Absolutely, and we've been working with them for 10 months. I've got to say, everybody at Tilray, to a person, has been just remarkable to work with. The team that they've assembled, the corporate citizenship that they've shown throughout this entire process, I think bodes well for the community. We'd be happy to have more companies like this in our community.
And Philippe, what's the relationship like with the Nanaimo RCMP?
It's been really fantastic. In fact, we hired our director of security, Jake Ryan, from the local RCMP, and so we were really happy with them. They've been very supportive. I just went in this week to get my fingerprints done for some security clearance. I must say, you guys have a very friendly department. They've been really interested, and it's amazing how many folks I call when we say, "Oh yeah, we're looking for office supplies," or for example, I was at the RCMP getting my fingerprints. They're like, "What business are you from?" I said, "We're out in Duke Point," and they say, "Oh, you're that business." I think that we're certainly getting public attention, and it's nice to be talk of the town if you're going to be talked about in a nice manner, and that's certainly the case right now.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how this blends in with the community. But as a news reporter here at a local radio station in town, I look for alternate views to attack a certain story, and from the public safety element side, I look to try to advance it that way. But I had difficulty finding a way to. There just doesn't seem that much opposition to. Really, to what you guys are doing.
No, I think we've turned a corner, and this is about legitimizing this industry. It's about shining a light in the dark corners where there has been, where there have been issues in the past. And so this is about making medical cannabis safer for patients. It's about making medical cannabis production safer as well.
Gentlemen, thanks so much for coming on the program. Really appreciate your time. A fascinating topic, Philippe. A lot of information to process, but very interesting discussion. And Sasha, thanks for coming on to talk about the economic development aspect of that as well. Very important for Nanaimo to get more well-paying jobs, and this aligns with that. Gentlemen, thanks so much for coming on the program.
A pleasure.
Thanks a lot, Ian.
Philippe Lucas of Tilray, Sasha Angus from the Nanaimo Economic Development Corporation, getting into the topic of commercial-sized medicinal marijuana operation setting up at Duke Point in Nanaimo. Very interesting industry, and certainly we've come a long way in terms of our relationship with marijuana, and that will continue to evolve here in the future. Thanks a lot for tuning in to the expanded format, half-hour long of Head On here on Shaw TV. Much more coverage coming up in the weeks and months ahead about issues that really matter here on Shaw TV. I'm Ian Holmes. Thanks so much for tuning in to Head On.